What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best gaming related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. We've talked on the YouTube channel about Resistance and this franchise moving forward. Resistance being one of those titles, guys, on the PlayStation that was one of the first that I ever played as far as an exclusive is concerned on the PlayStation 3. And I gotta say, guys, that this is a franchise that I have wanted to see a continuation of. Sure, this is a franchise, like so many, that have had peaks and valleys. Some of the games in the franchise have been really good, others not so much. But I want to talk, guys, about Resistance and Resistance 4 in particular, and everything that we know so far about this title, because as time's gone, there's been a lot of rumblings, speculation, and of course, guys, a lot of people are getting excited for some of the things that are coming out. From a leak perspective to even things that Insomniac Games, the developers of Resistance, are sharing on social media. So we're going to break it down, we're going to talk about it, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So guys, in an article written by Amrit Chatterjee, Resistance 4 updates, rumors, of course, guys, speculation, things of that nature. Insomniac Games' Resistance will be returning with its fourth installment, and fans of the series are extremely excited to see what the upcoming games has in store to offer. A lot of new rumors and speculation has surfaced up, and we have gathered all the recent updates. So according to the latest updates, the upcoming Resistance 4 will have a lot of new changes, and fans will love to indulge themselves in this new shooter game. Created by Insomniac Games, the first-person shooter game series made its debut back in 2006 and was well received by the gaming community. Just like any other game, the game had its flaws and it met with criticism, however, that didn't stop it from expanding its series. And so far, the series has a total of 3 games, and fans are looking forward to playing the upcoming Resistance 4. There are other titles, guys, in the franchise, but obviously not necessarily just on PlayStation. They were on PlayStation Portable, so on and so forth. So look, you got to take all the rumors, updates, speculation with a pinch of salt, guys, because obviously we're all really excited and want there to be a continuation of the Resistance franchise. However, nothing has been 100% confirmed yet that it's even in existence at this point. But there are certainly some things that we can take from what has been getting leaked, things that have been leaked and rumored to be true, and we can start kind of breaking those things all down. Back in 2018, Ted Price revealed that they are not completely dropping the idea of Resistance 4. However, at that point of time, they were looking forward to working on other important projects, which were of higher interest, so they had to keep the series at pause, but fans have again reopened the discussion with new rumors that Resistance 4 is near. According to new rumors, Resistance 4 will be a reboot and will be set in a new universe, and it will be a dark or more dark from its original games. Also, the game will focus heavily on incorporating more human stories that fans will be able to connect to. The stories will have the dynamics which will make the fans connect to the characters on a deeper level. So that is something that which was missing from the original game. What I will say, guys, is this. If they do a reboot, but it's set in a new universe, that could be something really interesting in my opinion, because obviously they've made 3 games up to this point. They've kind of done, a number of different things within this universe so far, maybe having kind of a fresh area, fresh kind of start almost, where obviously the Chimera are, and they could kind of, there's a lot of different ways that they could do this, having it on and set in a different universe. I think it could be something really interesting. Now, for now, none of the claims are legitimate. However, Insomniac Games' James Stevenson revealed that the IP belongs to Sony, so the future rests on their shoulders. If they want, they can make a whole new game with different developers, so we can't predict anything concrete now. So when are we expecting there to be more updates, guys? Resistance 4 is expected to release sometime in 2021 if they are secretly developing the game. The official statement is yet to be revealed, however, we will keep you posted, of course, once they make an announcement. Now, look, here's the thing. There is absolutely no indication that we are going to be getting an announcement this year, guys. I would love to see an announcement this year, something that's been secretly being worked on. Now, when we go to the Resistance page on Wikipedia, the future section of it states, according to Resistance 3 creative director Marcus Smith, the studio has a number of franchises it wants to pursue, and that Resistance is not one of them. It is possible that the franchise will be handed off to another developer. Insomniac CEO Ted Price stated that Insomniac won't be making any more Resistance games. On March 28, 2014, all online features of the Resistance games have been discontinued, which was really unfortunate in my opinion. And then in August 2018, Insomniac community director James Stevenson called chances of a Resistance 4 a long shot, revealing that neither the developer nor Sony, who owns the IP, were talking about a sequel. So, obviously, guys, the series was celebrated with numerous other PlayStation franchises in the PlayStation 5 game Astro's Playroom. Now, what I'm going to say about that is this. Resistance, obviously, I think, kind of suffered a similar fate to that of Dead Space. The Dead Space franchise, guys, had 2 games back-to-back that were fantastic, Dead Space 1 and 2. Then you get to Dead Space 3, and they kind of changed a lot of things, making it more of a an action game over a horror game, which is what made Dead Space so special. I see similarities here with this franchise. The first 2 games were great, in my opinion, with the Resistance franchise. Then you get to Resistance 3, and they start kind of changing some things. Not saying that change is always bad, but there are, obviously when you start changing fundamental things about the title, of what made it so special in the first place, that is where you start to lose people. Now, do I think that there's a possibility Resistance 4 could happen? Absolutely, and it very well could be underway right now. With a different studio, not Insomniac, somebody else may be working on it. I do think that there still is a massive fan base around Resistance, so there is that as well. Now, what's interesting is, according to an article written by Callum Williams of Game Rant, another Resistance image appears on Insomniac Games' Twitter timeline, leading fans to believe the studio could be teasing a remake. With Marvel's Spider-Man in the rearview mirror, Insomniac Games has already made it plenty clear that they're not slowing down, announcing that both Spider-Man Miles Morales and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart are on the way very soon. Since the company was acquired by Sony, it seems it's been investing a lot into its Sony-focused IP, making sure that both Spider-Man and Ratchet & Clank are some of the best-looking franchises heading to the PlayStation 5. However, a new image posted to the company's Twitter page has made viewers think that Insomniac could be teasing the resurrection of another of its Sony-centric hits. The tweet, which was posted to the studio's page earlier, centers on one of the 2 protagonists of the studio's long-dormant Resistance series, with Nathan Hale taking the spotlight. So, with the image, doesn't offer any hints for speculation. Evidently, fans think there's something to Insomniac's tweet, which was captioned TFW. The weather person says the storm has a high likelihood of hail. And people were obviously talking about this, guys. Obviously, people are waiting on a new Resistance remake or sequel. So are you making a sequel or remasters or remakes? While a second person speculated high likelihood of seeing Halo on the PS5. So a number of users are asking this from Insomniac. What Insomniac's doing, though, is they are certainly kind of building up a, kind of getting fans excited about what could be coming here if there's going to be a Resistance title. And this is where you start kind of getting those conflicting reports, right? You start hearing that, yeah, Insomniac's not working at all on a Resistance title, but then they're sharing things on Twitter and social media, which they, very well might be doing more so in the future as we go here into 2021. There's a possibility that they could decide to, that there's going to be like a full-blown remaster. There's going to be something of that nature with Resistance to see if there's still a solid following around it, and then they can go ahead and greenlight Resistance 4. That would be the best move forward, in my opinion. Since these are franchises that have been laid dormant, like franchises like Dead Space or Resistance, in my opinion, what you do the best way moving forward is kind of like what Mafia is doing in that franchise. You take the games and you start remastering them. You see if there's still a really nice, solid fan base around these games. And then from there, you go ahead and you greenlight the continuation. Mafia 4, Dead Space 4, Resistance 4. In my opinion, that's the best way here for Insomniac to really see, okay, is there still something here with the Resistance franchise? While the image could likely be an innocent in-game, in-joke directed at fans of one of the PlayStation 3's most beloved series, it becomes far more suspicious when considering Insomniac posted several similar teasers recently as well. These have ranged from concept art from the trilogy to closer looks at the game's central antagonist, the Chimera. Regardless, it's clear fans want the series to return in some form. It's easy to see why. Launching with the console, the first game quickly transformed into a cult gem, allowing players to jump into an alternate history, 1951, in which humans are battling a losing war against mysterious alien force. It went on to spawn 2 sequels, with Resistance 2 taking the series to the United States in 2008, and Resistance 3 finishing the trilogy in 2011. So look, hopefully once Insomniac has let players don the mantle of Miles Morales, and explore the multiverse and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, it can then return to the world of Resistance for a 4th time. And I agree. Look, here's the thing, guys. When we talk about the speculation, the rumors, the rumblings coming out of, what a Resistance remake or a Resistance 4, a Resistance, soft reboot, a remaster of the original trilogy, whatever it might be, we know that Resistance was very popular on the PlayStation 3. Obviously, Spider-Man Miles Morales is certainly a very big title for Insomniac, especially in, of course, Marvel Spider-Man. Those are going to be much, juggernaut titles for them. But in my opinion, if you're Insomniac Games, you want to also have a list of other games that you can be working on. Sure, Ratchet & Clank makes a lot of sense. You get, of course, go ahead and do a Resistance title. That makes a lot of sense to me as well. It's kind of like when you look at, franchises like The Last of Us or Uncharted. When you are Naughty Dog, you want to go ahead and you want to still kind of keep both of these franchises moving and continuing with those legacies, those stories and such, because, you want to continue building on that, and you have special titles that you have at your, basically able to utilize to the full extent of your capabilities. Obviously, we know Sony owns the IP here for Resistance, but still, I feel that if you're working on a number of these titles, you could still make something really special. Resistance 4 makes a lot of sense to me. Maybe not right away, maybe more of like a Resistance, trilogy remaster, something of that nature. Release that to all of us, the public, as a fan base, and that'll get the real conversations going about the future of the franchise, and then greenlight a Resistance 4. I think there's a lot of possibility with the Resistance 4, guys, and sure, we don't know a lot, but we certainly can take some of these things that Insomniac is posting on Twitter, the things that we're hearing about, the rumblings and the talk of like this title is going to be, featured in another universe, on another world, in a different separate point in time of our history, and that is something that obviously we're going to be talking about, the wild speculation and all of that ad nauseum until we get more clarification on what's going on here and why Insomniac is doing this, as far as kind of teasing us as a fan base. But let me know, guys, what do you all think? Do you think we're going to be getting a Resistance 4 at some point or another in the foreseeable future? Or do you think that Insomniac may just be teasing some kind of remaster trilogy or something of that nature? What do you all think? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Resistance 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. I'm sure many of you out there have that one person, whether it's yourself or a friend of yours, a family member, that loves the Sims, franchise as a whole. For me, it's been, one in my household. My wife absolutely loves the Sims titles. And so I wanted to go ahead, guys, and talk specifically about the Sims 5, the future of this franchise, and everything that we know so far about this title, all the speculation, rumblings, the things that we know, at least right now, now. We can kind of break those things down, and I would love to hear your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So guys, The Sims, absolutely a massive franchise, and this has been a long-withstanding series out there. In an article written by Jack Webb of Tech Radar, get ready to play God again. Is The Sims 5 on your mind? Trust us, you're not alone. The next installment in the Ultimate Life Simulation series is reportedly in the works, and fans are hungry to know what's next. Well, there's no denying that The Sims 4 is still very much alive and well thanks to expansion, stuff packs, and mods. Given it's been more than 6 years since its release, it's natural that fans are curious about what Maxis and EA have planned for the new generation. Unfortunately, at the moment, there's not a huge amount known about The Sims 5 in terms of specifics, but there's a lot of buzz, guys. There is a lot of talk, speculation, like I said, from forums to Reddit to all, Twitter, all these different places. A lot of talk. There's little things that you can take from it. So here we go. The next installment of the beloved life simulation game, The Sims, is what it is. When is it going to be released? To be decided. Which platform will it be on? Historically, The Sims comes to PC first and then to consoles. If you guys ask me when is it going to be released, most likely we're going to hear something about it here in 2021. Now, whether that's a teaser trailer or something of that nature, it probably won't be a lot that we see, but then I would say in 2022 is when it's going to kind of ramp up. You're going to start seeing the gameplay. You're going to be seeing a lot more, and then most likely to release late in 2022 or some point in 2023. So as it stands, the game isn't far along at all, with NME reporting that The Sims 5 is currently in its conceptual phase. With that in mind, we probably shouldn't expect to see The Sims 5 anytime soon. Bear in mind that the gap between past The Sims iterations has been typically long as well. The Sims 3 came out in 2009, after which The Sims 4 was released in 2014. So this means this is the longest we've ever gone without a brand new mainline Sims game. However, it stands to reason that The Sims 4 is still going through its life cycle and EA isn't finished with it yet. So Snowy Escape is the latest expansion for The Sims 4, released in November 2020, and new stuff pack was launched in January 2021. It's likely that EA and Maxis are planning to release a few more content packs for the game this year. So I do think, guys, what's become increasingly obvious is that The Sims 4 has long overstayed its welcome, so we hope that 2021 will also be the year we'll hear something significant about The Sims 5. And like I said, I think this year makes a lot of sense in terms of, like, when you see the gaps between The Sims 3 to The Sims 4, from Sims 4 to Sims 5, you see that, there's a big gap there, and you would think that this year makes a lot of sense, at least to me, to at least show us that Sims 5 is being made, right? It is in, development right now. They're working on it. Even if it's a teaser trailer, teaser image, whatever it is, that's what's going to get the buzz going and really get people, excited about it. And as far as gameplay trailers, as you might expect, there are no trailers for The Sims 5 right now. In terms of gameplay, we can probably expect that The Sims 5 will play similarly to previous iterations, no matter what it ends up looking like. You have daily needs and shifting emotions to take care of, which you complete and keep in check by doing certain actions, such as eating and, of course, socializing with people as soon as they happen to pass by your home. And, like, one of the things that my wife loves about The Sims and this franchise, guys, is just, kind of like building a life in this virtual, in this game, right? In this, simulation type style video game. And it's awesome. It's really cool. And, you kind of go back to it over and over again because you're constantly wanting to update it. You constantly want to build a new house, build a new life, things of that nature. And, I think with The Sims 5, they definitely could do that, continue, like, even go deeper into that and continue, obviously, upgrading multiple things. Upgrading the graphics from a graphical standpoint. Just think of, from 2014 to now, what we've got as far as at our disposal when it comes to, from a graphics perspective. Sims 5 could look absolutely beautiful on the next-gen consoles, on PC, things of that nature. So I think there's a lot of different, ways that they could, of course, really increase and improve the experience, even though The Sims 4, in my opinion, is absolutely great. The Sims 5, multiplayer rumors, news, and more. So multiplayer components. Multiplayer being added to The Sims is being discussed on the official Reddit site and, for the most part, has been met with indifference. It could be that people are expecting to see something like The Sims 4 community online functions, which lets people share creations online in the game. Electronic Arts CEO Andrew Wilson said in January 2020 that the next game in the Sims series could feature single-player and multiplayer elements. He went on to say that there might be elements of The Sims Online added to the next title. So, what does that mean? For me, guys, when I think of multiplayer, I'm thinking of, almost like a Minecraft type of style here where, people can come into your life in The Sims 5. And people can try to ruin your life, or they can try to improve your quality of life, things of that nature in that multiplayer setting. It could be something really interesting. It kind of, reminds me of like that virtual world that was created, of course, in Gamer, the movie Gamer, where it really wasn't virtual, though. It was like real people that are actually being controlled by other people here in the world and so on and so forth. But it kind of just like reminds me of that, somewhat of that concept, right? Where you're in this place and you're kind of in this living, breathing ecosystem, and you're playing against other people, or you're playing with people actually like trying to achieve certain things. And that would be it would be something really interesting. I think that you could really do a lot there with multiplayer. Now, could it hurt the experience? Maybe, but I've always stated this, guys. Any AAA title out there should, and I believe needs to, it should be a standard that it has multiplayer elements, co-op elements, and a full-blown campaign. That's just been my thought on it, guys. I believe every AAA title should have that to justify the $60 price tag or whatever, what have you. The Sims having multiplayer components could be a huge selling point for fans of the series. There have been many occasions when playing The Sims that we have wished to start up a new household in a game and have friends join to take on their respective characters and all play together, simultaneously living out the virtual experience in co-op. This feature was used in The Sims 2 on PS2 consoles to great effect, allowing two players to create a character each and live together in the same house, sharing the same screen. It was excellent. Now, will The Sims 5 come to consoles? As it stands, there's no concrete information about The Sims 5, but we can probably expect that it will come to the PS5 and Xbox Series X during its lifetime, which is typically long if previous Sims games are anything to go by. Historically, Sims games become available on PC and then are reworked slightly for consoles and other systems. We would expect this to be the case for The Sims 5. The Sims 4 was released on PC in 2014, only becoming available for consoles in 2017, so be prepared for a significant gap when it comes to porting the PC version to console. And then lastly, guys, what about expansion and game packs? This is probably pretty obvious, but the frequent release of expansion packs helps to pad out the life of each Sims game, giving it new life. The Sims 3 enjoyed 11 expansions, all of which added new elements such as pets or the University Life expansion, and helped to keep the game fresh and going strong. Currently, The Sims 4 has 10 expansion packs and even more game packs and stuff packs. The point being, The Sims 5 will almost certainly get the same treatment. It will be updated continuously through its expected long life. And I agree. Now, here's the thing. That is one thing that we have to remember when we talk about The Sims and all of those things, revolving around that title. The one thing about, The Sims and what justifies the price tag of a Sims title, even though I stated that all AAA titles need to have multiplayer co-op in a full-blown campaign. The Sims, though, what's interesting with that is that this is a place where it's constantly updated, right? So it's basically like, that experience in that simulation where it's constantly being updated with expansions and things of that nature. So it keeps it fresh constantly. A lot of other AAA titles don't do that. They get maybe 1 or 2 expansions throughout the entirety of its shelf life, whereas The Sims is getting, 10, 11 of these expansions. So you got to remember that. You got to kind of take that into consideration as well when you talk about multiplayer in a title like this. But I think multiplayer would expand upon that legacy, the lore, the story, and your story in The Sims. So I think it would be really interesting, guys. I am excited, to say the least, about The Sims 5, the possibilities of it, what really it all could break down to. The speculation's rolling, guys, and it's really increasing as time goes. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and let's have a real conversation about it. And for more The Sims 5 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We've talked on the YouTube channel about Rage and this franchise, guys, from past, present, to what we could see in the future. And I believe that Rage is one of those titles that is on the cusp of being something absolutely huge. And we've talked about it, and I've talked a lot about Rage on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out all of that content here, but I gotta say, look, Rage 3 is a title that I do think needs to happen. It's been one that has been discussed quite a bit in forums and, of course, on Reddit, and even over, of course, the studio director over for Rage 2, and the talks of Rage 3 are really ramping up now, and it's something that's very exciting. I want to talk about it with all of you guys, the possibilities and what this could mean for the future of Rage. So let's talk about it, and like I said, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. An article written by Jasmine Henry of Game Rant, Rage 2 studio director Tim Willits reveals that he would like to make Rage 3 as soon as possible, also sharing some strange ideas that were nearly in the game. Now, Rage 2 has not been available. Obviously, guys, this article was written a couple of years ago, and here's the thing. He stated, this being Tim Willits, that he is now planning the sequel. Willits also says that he and the Rage 2 development team want to get to work on a sequel as soon as possible. Now, what's interesting, though, about this, guys, is that the game had only come out a number of days later, and until Tim Willits actually stated this. So it was almost like they were already moving on from Rage 2, which is a big red flag in my personal opinion. You got to be focused on your main game. Obviously, you can have those dreams and aspirations of the future, but if you're already looking to the future and you're not focused on the present, that could be a problem. Speaking to The Hollywood Reporter about the release of Rage 2, Willits said, "I hope so," when asked if more games in the Rage series could be released, calling the Rage franchise a fun setting where the development team can do what we want. Willits also revealed that developers once had a serious conversation about allowing players to ride on giant cockroaches. "It's a crazy, fun, exciting franchise, and I hope we can make a third one as soon as possible," said the developer. Now, I got to say that Rage is a very underrated title. I really liked Rage. Rage 2 I enjoyed as well, but there was so much, in my opinion, I've stated this, I'm in previous videos, guys, where it's like on the cusp. It's like right there, but the problem with it is that you can see that there's certain areas of the map and the places that you're exploring that are pretty bare bones. And I understand it's like a wasteland, but there needs to be more side missions. I think the campaign needs to be longer, especially the fact of the matter that this could be a very good multiplayer and co-op experience, and you have no multiplayer. I've always stated that AAA titles should have full packages. Campaign, multiplayer, and co-op modes. Rage should absolutely have multiplayer. If anything I hope for with Rage 3 is a Rage multiplayer experience. Sure, I want the campaign. Sure, I want co-op modes. Give us multiplayer, though. The customization, playing against other people, and PvP elements, PvE elements would be absolutely great. I think it would really help grow the franchise in a major way. Now, whether Rage 2 will get a sequel will be down to the game's success. Many Rage 2 reviews seem to be mixed on the game, saying that while it is action-packed and is fun to play, it also lacks in some areas. A weak story and a boring open world to explore are two areas that critics have called out, and I 100% agree with that. It's a pretty boring open world overall. And there's not, the story itself is, I think the story is actually better than the open world aspect of it is. But like I said, guys, you got to have multiple ways that you can connect with this franchise, especially people who are coming into the Rage universe and into the Rage, fan base, playing these games. They've finished playing Rage 2, and then they're going to move on to other games instead of staying with that game because there's no multiplayer, there's no co-op. So I really want to see that happen. The game has also been discounted on all platforms. While this doesn't always mean that a game is selling poorly, it would be strange to discount a game that is selling incredibly well. Publisher Bethesda will be looking at the game's sales figures before it greenlights Rage 3. If Bethesda was to give ID Software and Avalanche Studios the go ahead to make a Rage 2 sequel, then it's unclear when the team would be able to begin developing it. Willits and the rest of the developers may want to get started on the game as soon as possible, but their resources may not allow them to start development on a new game. And here's the other thing. Bethesda being bought out by none other than Xbox and Microsoft means that Rage is now in the hands of Xbox. Means it could be a console exclusive. Maybe they want to make a Rage Online specific, kind of like Elder Scrolls Online. They make a Rage Online and it's all multiplayer and such. And then of course you can add, a Rage 3 story and things of that nature. I just really want to have more in this world to do. That's just my personal opinion, guys. ID Software is also working on Doom Eternal. Obviously, guys, with Doom Eternal, very popular. Avalanche Studios' next game hasn't been announced, but it isn't known if the developer would start on Rage 3 without ID Software. The post-launch plans for Rage 2 will also take up many resources. Rage 2 will have world events as well as new content such as weapon skins, more cheat codes, and wasteland challenges, and these will all be released to players for free. There are also plans for premium paid story expansions. All of these mean that fans will likely be waiting years for Rage 3 to be released. And seeing as how, guys, that this is a title that came out a couple of years ago, we're already kind of looking to the future of Rage, obviously. Now, this is a article that's coming to us from Nitish Singh of Gamers Suffice. Rage 2 is just released, but the developers are ready to start production on Rage 3 ASAP. The Rage franchise started way back in 2011 when ID Software rolled out the first iteration of the first-person shooter set on an apocalyptic backdrop. As soon as it came out, critics and gamers drew parallels with games like Fallout 3 and Borderlands, which is okay because Fallout 3, of course, is owned by none other than Bethesda as well. However, it did win a couple awards for its graphics and gunplay, and over the years has earned a fan base as well. Now, in May of 2019, the series got its second title with Rage 2, co-developed by Avalanche Studios, and even though it's only been a couple of months, we are already hearing rumors about a possible third installment. Just a few days after Rage 2 had been officially released to the public, Tim Willits, like we said, had already was heard showing interest in a sequel. During his interview, Willits stated how the Rage franchise gave the developers a fun setting where they can try out new ideas and do what they want. Whatever be the case, one thing's for sure, that it's going to take a couple of years before we get to hear any news on Rage 3. Currently, ID Software is busy with their upcoming Doom Eternal, which we already know, guys. This was, of course, an article written back in 2020, so a little bit more recent. Rage 2 is far more colorful sequel to the gray-brown Rage 1. This has been supposedly done to create a distinct environment that separates itself from the Fallout series. The creators have also shown interest in creating something fun and thrilling. We also have rumors about the developers having a serious discussion about introducing giant cockroaches that players can ride. Which, to me, guys, is ridiculous. They should, obviously that's like something that might just be, something kind of meme-ish that they're doing. But I do think that they need to be talking about multiplayer. They need to be talking about other ways to kind of continue evolving the franchise. All this does is give an idea of the direction where the next part of the series might be heading. However, as stated earlier, there is still a long time before development on the new game starts, and it might be great if they give some attention to what the gamers have to say, and I agree 100% with that. So let's talk about it. Rage 2, guys, in my opinion, had a ton of promise. The problem was that it's a single-player story. There's no multiplayer elements, and that's the biggest issue in my opinion. Also, you've got no open, the open world setting is pretty, honestly, there's just not a lot to do in it. The story itself, I think the story is okay. I actually like the story a little bit more in Rage 2 than Rage 1, but the open world is just not very good, and it feels very bare bones. And, maybe that's what the developers were going for. What does that mean for Rage 3? Well, obviously, guys, I want to see a Rage 3 happen. And it comes down to us as a community. We got to voice and really give Rage 3 a voice and kind of get the developers to create this next title. Do I think it's something that is going to come down the pipeline? I do, guys. I really do. Obviously, ID Software, though, working on Doom, and that game already coming out and doing very well, there's a good chance that Bethesda may say, and Xbox now, because they own, Bethesda, they might say, look, let's greenlight another Doom title immediately. We'll put Rage on the back burner right now. I hope that doesn't happen, but when you think about Doom, at least that has a full package, right? It's got the single-player story. It's got the multiplayer. It's got the ways in which you can connect with the game after you're done playing the campaign. Rage does not right now, and that's something that needs to change as soon as possible. And I'm really hoping for the future of this franchise, guys. What we know is that they really want to make a Rage 3. And what that could be, well, they're talking about riding on cockroaches and things of that nature. That's all, fine and dandy, but I think there's other things that really need to be put into the fray here and in Rage 3 that are going to really evolve the franchise moving forward to continue really building upon the franchise and the fan base especially. You get all these fans that come into the game and then they just move on to other games after they're done playing the campaign. You want to have multiple ways you can connect with the franchise outside of just the single player story. You want to have multiple ways. Let's have a real conversation about it in the comment section down below, guys. And for more Rage 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Harry Potter is one of the most fascinating franchises and really just worlds in general, guys, ever created, in my personal opinion. I remember when this title came out and it was like competing with The Lord of the Rings when those movies were coming out, Harry Potter movies were coming out. Two of the greatest, just very imaginative worlds out there. And one thing I'm really excited about is Hogwarts Legacy. It's going to continue the legacy and the lore, the story of Hogwarts, but also of just Harry Potter as a whole. At least that's in my personal opinion. I want to talk about everything that we know about this title, guys. I'd love to have some real conversation with you guys in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. In an article written by Lauren Morton of PC Gamer, the Big Wizarding World RPG will let you create your own student and pen your legacy at Hogwarts. That's so key, guys. Create your own student and then pen your legacy. That is a really cool concept. You're not kind of going into the mind of like Harry or Ron or one of these other characters that's already in this universe. You're creating your own. It's really something that could be very special moving forward. The long-rumored Wizarding RPG Hogwarts Legacy is indeed in the works, and the reveal trailer proves that it has all kinds of wizard school activities we'd expect. There are pet owls and potion classes in the Sorting Hat and more. Rather than chasing the stories of wizards we already know, Hogwarts Legacy takes place long before the boy who lived, so you can make your own memories. Portkey Games and Avalanche Software say that you'll be able to create your own Hogwarts student, explore an open world, and uncover secrets about ancient magic that may affect the future of the wizarding world. So, obviously, guys, we haven't seen a ton at this moment in time, but from what we've seen of these, of the trailer and things, the reveal trailer at least, it looks like it could be something really special. Now, when is the release date? That's the big one, guys. Hogwarts Legacy will launch sometime in 2022. It was originally planned for this year, but announced in January 2021 that it would be pushed back into the following year. Creating the best possible experience for all the wizarding world and gaming fans is paramount to us, so we are giving the game the time it needs, Portkey Games says. So, you got to take that date with a pinch of salt. Because of the ongoing situation in our world, guys, there is a chance that it could get pushed back even further than 2022. Now, could it also stay with 2022? Absolutely. Or could it come back a little bit to 2021? Probably not. But there's a good chance that it could stay, obviously, like late 2022 or even into 2023. So just kind of keep, obviously we're very excited about it, but I would much rather them take their time, make it as good of an experience as possible, and then release it when it's done. So now, we don't know a lot about Hogwarts Legacy just yet, but we can say for certain, based on its reveal trailer, that it looks great. And yes, guys, the images and things of that nature that we've seen, absolutely, it looks absolutely gorgeous. What's the story here? So, Avalanche Software and Portkey Games say that Hogwarts Legacy follows the Wizarding World lore set out in the original Harry Potter novels, but is an original story from the studio, not written by J.K. Rowling. Now, that, to me, guys, is somewhat of a red flag. I think J.K. Rowling should be somewhat a part of this project because this is her world. And I think that even though I'm okay with having like something completely separate, essentially, I just think that J.K. Rowling being a part of this would be a very smart decision, to say the least. But it doesn't look like that's going to be happening. She's not. Maybe she has a role, but it's not being written by her. You'll play as a student attending Hogwarts in the late 1800s, attending classes and learning magic alongside other students. You have received a late acceptance to the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry and soon discover that you are no ordinary student. You possess an unusual ability to perceive and master ancient magic, the studio says. Only you can decide if you will protect this secret for the good of all or yield to the temptation of more sinister magic. So that leads us with the idea that there's going to be decisions you have to make throughout the course of the story. And I really like that as well. Is Harry Potter in Hogwarts Legacy? This was another one that a lot of people in the community are talking about. No. Remember, this is set in the 1800s, so the kid who lived is several generations from being born. Harry Potter won't be in Hogwarts Legacy, but since you can create your own character, you could probably design a wizard student who looks like him if you really want to. Another thing is that maybe if they have a multiplayer mode or something of that nature with Hogwarts Legacy, you'll be able to play as some of those original characters in some way or capacity. The gameplay. Avalanche is calling Hogwarts Legacy an immersive open-world action RPG. The immersive part may or may not mean a whole lot, but it sounds like you may be able to freely explore Hogwarts and other familiar locations while leveling and customizing your student. They've mentioned that you will be able to choose your student's schoolhouse at the beginning of the game. Avalanche doesn't let on if those companions it mentions are other students or pets or maybe even patronuses, but we're sure to find out later. As for the deadly enemies, you can spot what might be a dark wizard enemy in the reveal trailer. Now, as far as the locations about Hogwarts Legacy and where you're going to be exploring and such. So one is Hogwarts Castle. It should come as no surprise that we'll be spending a lot of time in Hogwarts Castle itself as students. In the reveal trailer, we got a good look at the expansive Great Hall and a look at the exterior we know so well too. Hogsmeade, the nearby village of Hogsmeade, shows up in the trailer too, so we can likely expect to wind down after classes in some of the local shops. And then of course the Forbidden Forest. Also from the trailer, we can spot a venture into the Forbidden Forest where a student is fighting against those unknown evil wizards of Hogwarts Legacy. Now here's the question. Is J.K. Rowling involved at all? Now, guys, full disclosure, the Harry Potter books are my favorite books ever. When it came to, from a narrative perspective, as far as novels go, obviously I'm really into, like, when I read books, I read a lot of business-based books, investing books, things of that nature. But if I'm trying to read a novel or something, J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter books are the easiest read, and they are the greatest, series in my opinion when it comes to just reading them. Absolutely loved Harry Potter. I breezed through them, and I'm not a very fast reader. So J.K. Rowling, to me, it's a big deal whether she's a part of this or not. So in recent months, J.K. Rowling has made a series of transphobic remarks that have upset many longtime Harry Potter fans, making her connection to Hogwarts Legacy a significant question. The story of Hogwarts Legacy is an Avalanche creation, and on an FAQ on its website, WB Games says J.K. Rowling is not directly involved in the creation of the game. However, her extraordinary body of writing is the foundation of all projects in the wizarding world. When Kotaku asked Warner Brothers whether Rowling would receive royalties from sales of Hogwarts Legacy, a representative declined to comment. Which to me, guys, it feels like she has to get royalties for this. It's her world. And obviously they're creating something a little bit different, but it's kind of, still within that universe. So JK, look, she's been going, obviously she's had some issues going on, like with comments and things of that nature. However, the question really lies in, would this be better of a title, of a game, with or without J.K. Rowling? And to me, at least, I believe it would be better with her. Now, look, I'm not going to say that I agree with what she did or anything of that nature. Obviously the comments were pretty startling and disrespectful in a number of ways. But I'm just saying when you look at it as the scope of this thing, Hogwarts Legacy as a whole, I believe that her 2 cents, her kind of given the sign off on the things within the world and such that she would approve of or not. I think that's important. because I don't want this game to release and then J.K. Rowling has a bunch of things to say about how this wasn't a very good, story, how, this wasn't the vision that she ever had for a video game like Hogwarts Legacy. And then you start really starting to spiral. Now, if the game comes out to, critical acclaim and such, then it's a totally different situation. But if people have a lot of complaints about it and then J.K. Rowling comes out and starts talking about it in a negative way, it's going to really really hurt any future of there being more Harry Potter games, down the road, kind of like this. So, we got to be, in my opinion, we have to be realistic about it, even though there's probably a chance that she's not going to be a part of this. But then you also have to be realistic that it could end up, not being as good of a title because you don't have her feedback. But let me know, what do you guys think in the comment section down below about that? Hogwarts Legacy, guys, at the end of the day, I'm very excited about it because I love this world and I can't wait to be able to play it and create my own character and things of that nature. Let me know what you all think about it, though, in the comment section down below. And for more Hogwarts Legacy content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.